I confess that my breakdown between your mother and I has caused emotional unbalance in the family.
Most of the time, I don't like my family. My sister Traci is the one who said to me, Toni, you know, when you make it, you can help us come on. So I always try to abide that. But the responsibility of it is so heavy for me. I feel like I can never live my life, and I never used to say it. I never used to say anything to anybody, everyone in my family.
Take a breath.
Everybody. I feel like I'm angry at everybody in my family. I don't like my family. If they weren't my family, it wouldn't be my friends.
I mean, they have love.
Headline has the internet holding its breath. Multiple unverified reports and old interview clips are circulating again. And fans are shocked by what they think they reveal about the Braxton dynasty. Whispers of broken trust, late-night phone calls, and exes hinting at what they claim they saw when the cameras stopped. We are not saying any of this is proven. We're covering the chatter, the claims, and the reactions that have set social feeds on fire. According to The Buzz, emotions ran high. The family was left divided, and long-buried grievances allegedly resurfaced in the loudest way possible. One side insists it's selective memory. The other says it's overdue truth. In the middle, a legacy built on harmony now echoing with accusation. Tell them everything, an off-screen voice.
Our eyes.
Well, Tamar, you had me thinking I was crazy too. I see, you know what? It felt like a surviving Tamar moment. You know, they always talk about how, women is being mentally abused and physically abused. Men get mentally and physically abused too. Cause she just socked me in my jaw before. You feel me? And I'm sure Jeremy and who, or before, and got their head cracked. Okay? And them gas station pills, yeah.
Voice allegedly urges in one clip. Everything? Comes the reply. Hesitant, charged, daring. That split second is the spark. Timelines flood with, did you see this? Threads spiral. Friends of friends confirm what no one will name on record. Meanwhile, the sisters' loyal supporters push back, show receipts or stop the noise. Tonight, we trace the rumor trail, the resurfaced quotes, and the contradictions, strictly as commentary, so you can decide what's signal, what's smoke, and what's just the algorithm feasting on drama. The story begins in the middle of what fans are calling one of the most intense family storms the entertainment world has seen in years. It all started with a few resurfaced clips and comments that appeared online without context. But what followed was nothing short of chaos. People began piecing together small moments, old interviews, and vague posts until it looked like the Braxton legacy was being rewritten before everyone's eyes. What was once a story of unity and powerful sisterhood suddenly started sounding like a tale of betrayal, silence, and deep emotional scars.
Before anyone says anything, please let it be known and let it be clear that as I am in this journey and in this process, and as I'm healing and trying to understand all of this stuff, that it feels really good to have
scars that never healed. One of the biggest sparks came when a former insider hinted that the sisters' relationships had been fractured for much longer than the public ever knew. In the early days, they moved together as one, performing, supporting, and protecting each other. But behind that glitter and laughter was a quiet resentment growing thicker with time. According to one source that began trending, the tension was rooted in the kind of pain only family can cause. The feeling of being needed, but never appreciated. One of the sisters allegedly confided years ago that she felt like her success had turned into a burden, that helping her family became an obligation rather than a joy. Shook the fandom even more came from those who once knew the family closely. They painted a picture of constant competition disguised as cooperation, of sisters comparing everything from record deals to relationships. When the cameras rolled for their hit reality show, many believed it was finally their time to show the world how tight their bond was. But what aired instead only deepened the cracks. Those scenes that fans once thought were playful banter now appear different in hindsight. Snide remarks, subtle eye rolls, and unspoken blame hovering in every room. And then came the voices of the ex-husbands. Their names trended overnight after interviews resurfaced where they described what they claimed to have witnessed during the height of the family's fame. One of them allegedly...
First of all, I was very disappointed in finding out via social media because our family is closer than that. And to have someone else regurgitate that story to us. Well, or I can only speak for me. But for someone else to tell me the story of something that happened to my own family.
Lee said that behind closed doors, it was less about sisterhood and more about survival. According to his account, emotions would flip in seconds, from laughter to shouting, from hugs to slammed doors. He spoke of how fame blurred the lines between personal and professional life, how loyalty was replaced by who got more attention or credit. Another ex described it as walking on eggshells inside a golden cage. The words spread across every gossip page, leaving fans torn between disbelief and sympathy. Some longtime supporters defended the family, insisting that every household has its issues and that editing and online gossip always distort the truth. Others weren't so forgiving. They felt the interviews only confirmed what had been visible for years. Strained smiles, awkward silence during group appearances, and moments where you could sense unspoken anger behind polite words. One viral post put it bluntly: they look like they're performing family instead of being one. What truly set everything ablaze was when a younger family member came forward online, sharing a story that felt raw and heartbreaking. She spoke about being dismissed, misunderstood, and pushed away when she needed support the most. Her video went viral within hours. She didn't mention names, but everyone connected the dots. The comments flooded with heartbreak and outrage, while the rest of the family stayed silent. That silence spoke louder than any statement could. People expected a quick response or at least some sign of unity, but nothing came. More claims started to swirl. A few insiders hinted that the family was split in how to handle the situation. Some wanted to address it openly, while others believed staying quiet would make it fade faster. That disagreement only deepened the divide. Allegedly, one sister was furious about the accusations, saying it was all being exaggerated for sympathy, while another reportedly wanted to reach out privately but was warned not to. The tension was so thick that even the family's friends and collaborators started distancing themselves publicly, posting neutral messages about peace and healing without mentioning any names. Yet every time someone tried to defend one side, another set of comments appeared with screenshots, memories, and proof that added more confusion than clarity. Fans began arguing among themselves, choosing sides, creating hashtags, and demanding accountability from people who hadn't even spoken. The story kept twisting when one of the ex-husbands decided to go live, answering fan questions and hinting that there was much more to tell. He didn't drop names, but his tone was heavy, his words sharp. He said the sisters' relationship had been like a tightrope stretched too thin, each trying to balance between love, loyalty, and resentment. He mentioned long nights of arguments about money, family duties, and who sacrificed more. What shocked viewers most was when he claimed that some of the family's biggest public breakdowns weren't spontaneous. They were the result of months of emotional buildup behind closed doors. Interview. 5/11/38. After that, the internet exploded. Fans began clipping and sharing old scenes from their show, matching them with his claims, convinced they could spot the exact moments of tension he had hinted at. Comments ranged from sympathy to outrage. One read, "This explains everything," while another said, "These are still just rumors, don't feed the chaos." But by then, the narrative had already taken on a life of its own. Rumor also had it that one of the sisters reached out privately to calm things down, but was met with cold silence. Allegedly, that attempt to mend the rift only made things worse, reopening old wounds that everyone thought had been buried. According to those close to them, trust had been broken too many times to rebuild overnight. The emotional weight of years of rivalry and misunderstandings was now dragging the family apart in front of millions of eyes. And still, through all the noise, not one of the main sisters gave a public statement. The quiet became eerie. Fans began asking why. Were they protecting someone? Hiding pain?
you felt guilty because you know how you've been acting. And however,
Guilty.
excuse me, let me finish because I let you talk. Thank you. I will.
Continue.
And I will. And I will. And yes. So, and then you decided that, you know, you wanted to say something, like you just couldn't let him say something nice about me.
Do you think you've been with that person?
He does.
No, I'm asking you. Do you think that you've
I
been
know
with
I'm saying.
I'm asking, do you think that
I'm
you've
answering.
been...
I
Okay,
have been
answer
the
that.
single T.
So you
Toni,
are.
you're not my Thor type.
So you are.
Nor am I afraid of you. So don't talk to me like that, okay?
Pain, or simply tired of defending themselves against speculation. Each unanswered question added more mystery, and soon, even people who had never watched their show were tuning in to see what would happen next. The deeper everyone dug, the more it seemed like every revelation led to another unanswered question. Every silence looked like guilt. Every post felt like a coded message. The family that once stood as a symbol of strength was now being dissected piece by the very audience that once adored them. The same love that built their careers was now fueling the fire of speculation, and it didn't look like it would stop anytime soon. The breaking point, as some
creative writer, he basically sits home and writes books, his own books, and he takes care of the kids, which is great, except for one thing. He's not out selling any of his books, which means I have to take care of the household because he's not bringing any money in.
I don't like some of the things you do, Truth. Basically, I feel like I married my mother. And you know, I didn't like my mother. I loved her to death.
Claim came during a private gathering where emotions reportedly boiled over. According to one account, voices were raised, tears were shed, and a few harsh words were exchanged that could never be taken back. Someone left early that night, and no one has seen the full family together since. It was as if that night marked the end of whatever was left of their unity, though no one outside that room knows what was really said. And just as the online world began to calm, another clip emerged, grainy, hard to verify, showing what appeared to be a tense conversation between two family members at an event. The audio was muffled, but you could feel the coldness in their body language. It was enough to reignite everything, sending social media into another frenzy. People analyzed every second, debating whether it was staged or real, while others begged for privacy and peace. But by then, the story had slipped beyond anyone's control. It's all exaggerated gossip. Others believe it's years of truth finally surfacing. Either way, the damage has been done. Reputations have been questioned, relationships strained, and fans left heartbroken, wondering if the love that once defined the Braxton name still exists beneath the weight of all these allegations. And as the dust continues to rise, one thing feels certain. What's happening inside that family runs much deeper than what anyone has seen or said so far. The silence that followed the first wave of drama only made things louder. Fans kept refreshing timelines, waiting for a sign, any sign, that the family would finally speak up. But days turned into weeks and nothing came. That kind of quiet from a family so used to cameras felt strange, almost haunting. It was as if everyone was holding their breath, afraid that one wrong word could make everything explode. Insiders began whispering that behind the scenes, the sisters were barely speaking. The phone calls had stopped, the group chats were dead, and the only communication left was through public posts that fans quickly began decoding like secret messages. One morning, screenshots started circulating. They showed what appeared to be vague social media captions. Lines about betrayal, about loyalty, about fake love wearing family faces. No names were tagged, but everyone knew who they were about. Each post felt like a quiet jab wrapped in poetic words. The fans didn't miss a beat. One commented, "She's definitely talking about her sister," while another wrote, "It's the silence for me. She's done playing nice." Soon enough, gossip pages began running side-by-side comparisons, breaking down each word, turning them into headlines. Interview 11:08-11:30, and then the ex-husbands returned to the spotlight. One of them appeared in a podcast interview, where he said he wasn't surprised at all by what was happening. He claimed that years ago, he'd seen the same patterns: rivalries, secret grudges, and long-standing tension that no one wanted to admit. According to him, even family dinners would turn into strategy meetings about careers and appearances. He said it was like everyone had to perform the perfect family image, even when they were falling apart inside. The comment that hit fans hardest was when he said, "There's love there, but it's not the soft kind. It's the kind that leaves scars. That line became a trending quote overnight. Edits, memes, and emotional commentaries flooded the internet. Fans began sharing their own stories of toxic families, saying they understood the pressure of pretending everything was fine. Suddenly, the Braxton story wasn't just about celebrities anymore. It became a mirror for anyone who had ever felt unseen or unheard in their own family. The discussion shifted from gossip to something deeper, but the mystery still lingered. At the same time, another ex spoke up in a live stream, claiming that during the height of their fame, the sisters' relationships had turned into something like a business contract. He said it was less about love and more about obligations. Who owed what, who was carrying the weight, and who wasn't pulling their share. His tone was calm, but the message was brutal. Imagine being family, he said, and still feeling like you have to audition for each other's approval. People didn't know whether to believe him or not, but the way he said it felt genuine, almost too raw to be fake. He didn't name names, but he described situations that fans could easily connect to moments they'd seen on the show. Arguments about money, control, and image. The idea that fame had turned each sister into both a rival and a reflection of the others. What really pushed everything further, though, was when new voices began to appear. Former assistants, producers, even a few unnamed crew members. They started hinting that what viewers saw on television was only a fraction of what went on. One claimed that off-camera, arguments would last for hours, sometimes ending in tears and slammed doors. Another said that certain scenes were edited out because they were too real and might damage reputations. Those statements sent shockwaves through the fan base. People started questioning everything they'd ever watched, wondering how much truth was buried under the glossy editing and staged family moments. Some fans were furious, demanding the family speak up and clear the air. Others said they'd had enough, calling for everyone to let the women heal in peace. But gossip doesn't rest, and every silence becomes another opportunity for someone else to speak. That's when a rumor started that one of the sisters was planning her own tell-all interview, something that would finally address the years of speculation. It was never confirmed, but the mere possibility was enough to send the internet into overdrive. In the middle of all this noise, a short audio clip surfaced. No one knew where it came from, but it spread fast. In it, two voices, both female, both emotional, seemed to be arguing about loyalty and betrayal. One voice cracked while saying, "You were supposed to protect me," while the other snapped back, "I protected the family." It was barely a few seconds long, but it reignited everything. People started debating who the voices belonged to, dissecting tone, accent, and emotion. Within hours, hashtags were trending again, and news sites were writing entire stories around that one audio fragment. Meanwhile, one of the ex-husbands tried to backtrack. He released a statement saying he had been misunderstood and that he meant no harm to anyone. But by then, it was too late. The damage was done, and his earlier words had already been immortalized in headlines. The other ex didn't say much but posted a cryptic message online. Sometimes silence is safer than truth. Fans took that as a confirmation that there was more he wasn't saying. Behind closed doors, reports claimed the sisters were torn between anger and heartbreak. Some wanted to address the exes directly. Others thought responding would only make things worse. One insider allegedly said the family group chat turned into a battlefield, filled with emotional messages, long voice notes, and moments of complete silence. Someone even left the chat entirely, which fans later noticed when a social media post hinted. Sometimes peace means distance, and just as people thought things might finally settle, another revelation dropped. A resurfaced clip of a past family argument that fans had overlooked years ago. In the clip, one of the sisters breaks down, saying she feels used and unseen. It's a raw moment, and in light of all the current drama, it hit differently this time. The internet lit up again, claiming this was proof that the tension had always been there. What used to be seen as just reality TV entertainment now looked like a cry for help. The emotional toll of it all started becoming clear. Even fans who loved the family began admitting that maybe the fame had cost them too much. One popular fan account wrote, "They gave us entertainment, but at what price?" Others begged them to go to therapy together, to heal instead of perform. It was almost poetic. How a story that began as gossip turned into a collective reflection on pain and forgiveness. But the family itself remained silent, keeping everyone guessing what would come next. As the weeks went on, one question began echoing louder than all others. If so many people were talking, where were the sisters themselves? Were they preparing something big? Or were they just done trying to prove anything to anyone? No one knew for sure. But one thing everyone agreed on was that something had shifted. The energy around the Braxton name no longer felt glamorous. It felt heavy, real, and full of unspoken stories that might never be told completely. The weeks that followed felt like a slow-motion unraveling. There was no official statement, no press release, not even a carefully worded tweet. Yet somehow the silence spoke louder than any response could. The fans who had once adored the Braxton family for their bond now seemed divided, picking sides as if watching a televised courtroom. One side defended the sisters, calling the ex-husbands bitter opportunists who were twisting memories to grab attention. The other side believed this was the long-overdue truth, years of hidden resentment finally surfacing through the cracks. Every post, every old clip, every cryptic lyric was now being examined under a microscope. But behind all the noise, the family itself was said to be spiraling. One person close to them described the atmosphere as tense and fragile, like walking through a house filled with broken glass. There were whispers that even private family gatherings had turned cold. Where there used to be laughter, now there was stiffness and avoidance. No one wanted to talk about the interviews or the posts, yet everyone felt the weight of them. In that uncomfortable silence, new tensions started to form. It wasn't just about what was said anymore, it was about who believed what. One evening, fans began sharing screenshots from a live video that seemed to capture one of the sisters looking visibly upset while on a call. No one could hear the conversation, but her expression, tired, teary-eyed, and frustrated, that's when things took an unexpected turn. A former tour manager who had worked with the family years earlier came forward on social media, claiming that the tension wasn't new. It had been brewing since the very beginning. He described moments on tour buses where arguments would break out over small things, song choices, outfits, who got more lines in interviews. He said the sisters loved each other deeply, but their bond had been tangled with responsibility and pride. According to him, each sister carried her own idea of what family should look like, and those ideas constantly clashed. His words added another layer to the narrative. Suddenly, the story wasn't about villains and victims anymore. It was about people who simply didn't know how to heal together. In the middle of this chaos, fans started noticing something strange. Instead of posting individually, some of the sisters began sharing motivational quotes, short phrases about strength, forgiveness, and self-worth. They weren't addressing the drama directly, but everyone could feel the connection. One of them wrote, "Sometimes love hurts more than hate," and within minutes, it became the top trending quote of the day. The comments were filled with mixed emotions: love, confusion, heartbreak. One fan wrote, "We don't need the tea, we just want to see you all okay." But even as the public tried to show support, the private wounds seemed to deepen. One source claimed that the family's inner circle was split down the middle. Some believed it was time to confront everything head-on, to sit down as a family and talk. No cameras, no filters. Others thought reopening those wounds would only make things worse. It became a tug-of-war between healing and hiding. One insider described it perfectly. They're stuck between wanting peace and being too scared of what peace might cost. Then came another twist. One of the ex-husbands suddenly deleted all his previous posts about the family and replaced them with a single message: "Truth doesn't need to shout." This single sentence sent social media into a frenzy again. People started guessing what he meant. Was he backing down, or was he hinting that more proof existed? The comment sections turned into chaos. Some accused him of backpedaling after public backlash. Others thought he was preparing for something bigger, maybe even legal. The mystery only deepened when another family acquaintance posted a photo of a group dinner, captioned, "Quiet before the storm." No one knew when the picture was taken, but that didn't stop fans from guessing who was at the table, who wasn't, and why. The emotional impact of it all began to show in subtle ways. One of the sisters canceled a public appearance citing exhaustion. Another avoided interviews altogether. Their usually glamorous photos looked more subdued, their smiles less radiant. Fans noticed it immediately and began leaving encouraging messages, saying they didn't need perfection, just honesty. But honesty was the one thing this family had been avoiding for years. Rumor had it that one of the sisters broke down during a phone call with a close friend, admitting that she missed how things used to be but didn't know how to fix it anymore. She reportedly said that every time they tried to make peace, old wounds reopened and the same arguments replayed like an endless loop. That confession, though unconfirmed, spread quickly, and people began to see the story differently. Maybe it wasn't about blame after all. Maybe it was about pain passed down and never resolved. Meanwhile, entertainment commentators started dissecting the situation, calling it a textbook case of generational trauma mixed with fame. They pointed out how the Braxton name had always symbolized strength and sisterhood. But underneath it was a long history of pressure, competition, and unmet expectations. One talk show host even compared it to a castle built on cracked glass. As more discussions unfolded, the story began to drift away from gossip and toward reflection. People started asking bigger questions. What does fame really cost a family? Can love survive when loyalty is constantly tested by public image? It was no longer just about who said what. It was about the emotional toll of years spent pretending everything was perfect. And yet, in the middle of that storm, a faint glimmer of hope appeared. One of the sisters posted an old photo, back when they were all together, smiling for real, no cameras, no scripts. The caption simply read, "We were happy once." It was heartbreaking, but it also reminded everyone that beneath the anger and the rumors, there was still love there somewhere, buried under the noise. Fans flooded the post with comments begging them to reconcile, to forgive, to rebuild. Some said it felt like a final goodbye. Others believed it was the first step toward healing. But just as people started to hope again, another piece of information leaked. An alleged message exchange between two family members discussing who should speak publicly first if things went out of control. It was unclear if the messages were real, but their content suggested mistrust and fear of exposure. And just like that, the fragile hope that had started forming began to crumble again. People realized that this wasn't a simple misunderstanding. It was a web of secrets, pride, and unresolved grief stretching back decades. The story was no longer just about family drama. It had become a saga of human emotion, of love fighting to survive in an environment where image mattered more than truth. The sisters who once sang about unity were now trapped in a silence too heavy for words. And the world, hungry for answers, kept watching, waiting for someone, anyone, to finally break the cycle and speak the truth. Days turned into weeks, and the energy around the Braxton family felt strange, like a storm that refused to fade, only growing heavier with time. The whispers kept spreading, even as the main players stayed quiet. People started noticing the absence of family photos, the missing birthday messages, the empty seats at events that were once filled with laughter. The silence began to feel permanent, as if the sisters had retreated into their own corners, nursing wounds too deep to share. One night, a fan recorded what seemed like an argument outside a private event. The video was blurry, the audio full of background noise, but there were two figures, both familiar, talking in raised voices. No one could tell exactly what they said, yet the tension was unmistakable. Within hours, the clip went viral. Captions appeared. "It's happening again. They can't escape the drama. Some bonds just can't be repaired." That single video reignited every old rumor, every speculation. News outlets picked it up, analyzing shadows and body language like detectives. And though no one confirmed the clip's authenticity, it didn't matter. People believed what they wanted to believe. While the internet dissected every second, those close to the family described an entirely different picture. They said exhaustion had set in, too many years of smiling through pain, too many public breakdowns turned into memes, too many betrayals turned into storylines. One insider said softly, "They're not fighting each other anymore. They're fighting the silence between them." Apparently, a few attempts were made to bring everyone together in a private space, just to talk. No cameras, no managers, no outsiders. But every time someone would back out, maybe out of fear, maybe out of pride, maybe because saying sorry after decades of hurt felt impossible. What broke hearts even more was how the younger generation started reacting. Nieces and nephews began posting cryptic words about healing, about cycles ending. One wrote, "I'm not choosing sides, I'm choosing peace." That line alone spread across social media like wildfire. Fans began speculating that the younger relatives had grown tired of carrying a legacy of conflict, that they wanted to write a new story, one without resentment. But it was clear they were still caught in the crossfire of loyalty and love, unable to speak freely without reopening old wounds. Meanwhile, one of the ex-husbands resurfaced again, this time with a calmer tone. He appeared in a short interview saying that his earlier words had been taken out of context, but that he stood by one thing. There's still love in that family. It's just buried under too much noise. His comment struck a chord. For the first time in months, people weren't arguing about who was right or wrong. They were talking about how fame can destroy closeness, how healing takes more than apologies. It almost felt like the audience, the fans themselves, had started to change the tone of the entire conversation. For a brief moment, the world quieted down. One by one, the gossip pages moved on to other stories. The hashtags faded, the analysis stopped. But that quiet was fragile, because deep inside, nothing had really been resolved. Rumors soon spread that one of the sisters was writing new music, something deeply personal, her version of everything that had happened. Another insider hinted that the lyrics would tell a story of survival, of love turned heavy, of sisters trying to find their way back to each other. No one knew if it was true, but the possibility brought a strange kind of hope. And then something unexpected happened. One morning, fans woke up to a simple post on social media. It wasn't a statement or a press release. It was just a short video of old family clips, smiling faces, studio moments, hugs before performances. Over it played a voice saying, "Families break, but they also rebuild. We're all learning." The internet froze. The post didn't tag anyone, didn't clarify anything, but its message was enough. The comment section flooded instantly. Some cried, others cheered. A few doubted its sincerity, but most felt relief. It was the first sign that maybe, just maybe, healing had begun. The reactions were overwhelming. Celebrities, fans, and even former coworkers left supportive messages. One person wrote, "This feels like closure without explanation," while another said, "Maybe they're finally putting the past down." People started sharing their own family stories again, turning what began as gossip into a conversation about forgiveness. It was a strange, beautiful twist. How a story that started in pain could spark something human in everyone watching. Still, not everyone was convinced. Some followers believed the post was more about image control than genuine peace. They pointed out that there were still missing faces, still unspoken truths, still wounds that hadn't been named. But others argued that peace doesn't have to be perfect. One fan said it best, "You don't fix everything at once. Sometimes you just stop throwing stones." In the following weeks, the family stayed quiet again, but this time it felt different. The energy had shifted from anger to acceptance. No one expected grand gestures or public apologies anymore, just small signs that maybe the sisters were speaking again, even if only in private. A few subtle hints appeared, a shared playlist here, a comment under an old photo there. Small things, but enough to remind people that behind all the drama, they were still connected by blood and history. As the dust settled, entertainment reporters began writing retrospectives, tracing how the story had unfolded from whispers to headlines and finally to reflection. They called it one of the most emotional sagas in celebrity family history, not because of the rumors, but because of what it revealed about fame, pain, and the price of public life. It reminded everyone watching that even the most glamorous families carry unseen weight, and sometimes the world forgets that they're human too. And as the cameras turned away and the gossip faded into memory, what remained was the image of a family learning, in their own quiet way, that love isn't about perfection, it's about endurance. Maybe they'll never return to the closeness they once had, Maybe some words will never be forgiven, but there's a small chance that the same bond that once broke them can one day save them too. And for fans who had followed every twist, that hope alone was enough. So what do you think really happened behind the scenes? Were the ex-husbands simply chasing attention, or were they finally saying the things the world wasn't supposed to hear? And can the Braxton sisters ever truly rebuild what fame and pride have broken? We may never know the full truth, but one thing's clear. This story isn't just about celebrity drama. It's about family, forgiveness, and the kind of pain that money or fame can't fix. If you've ever had to walk away from family for your own peace, or tried to heal after years of silence, you already know how heavy that journey can be. Maybe this isn't the end of their story. Maybe it's just the beginning of something more honest. Let us know what you think in the comments below. Do you believe the sisters will ever reconcile? Or has the damage gone too far? We read every single comment, and your thoughts mean more than you know. If you found this breakdown interesting, hit that like button. Share it with someone who's been following the Braxton saga from day one. And make sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive into the stories shaking the entertainment world. Because around here, the truth might stay silent for a while, but it always finds a way to speak again.